This presentation will be about food policies, which clubs at UMass Lowell are required to follow in order to have a successful event that is well organized. This presentation was prepared by UMass Lowell's Office of Multicultural Affairs. Overview. We will discuss how to provide food at your event and the different food policies associated with how food is provided. The food and safety guidelines will be explained, and a recap of the do's and don'ts to follow food policies and to have a successful event will be given. How to provide food at your event. You can provide food at your event through donations, a potluck style, bake sales, catering, and you can provide pizzas. Food policy donations. If your event is providing food through donations, donations must be from licensed vendors who are willing to take up the cost of the food or donate the food to your group. A licensed vendor is an individual, business, or organization that can prepare and cook food professionally. For example, Chef Gordon Ramsay, Market Basket, Egg Roll Cafe, and Chipotle are examples of licensed vendors. A waiver is required to provide food through donations at your event and must be approved ahead of time. Waiver forms are available on Engage, which will be shown how to get to later on in this presentation. Food policy with a potluck style event. Food at your event can be provided in a potluck style if you and your club members are willing to purchase raw ingredients and prepare the food according to food safety guidelines. The food and safety guidelines will be explained later in the presentation. Potluck style is only appropriate for an event serving 15 or fewer people. To hold an event with potluck style food, a waiver is required and must be approved ahead of time. Submit the waiver form on Engage. Engage for waivers. Step 1. Head over to Engage and sign in at umasslowclubs.campuslabs.com/engage. When you get to the website, it will look something like this, and the sign-in is on the upper right side of the screen. Step 2. To find the waivers for donations and potlucks, click on Forms at the top of the page. The next page will look like this. You can search or scroll down until you find the food donations and potluck form, and then hit Start to begin filling out the form for your event. Step 3 is to fill out the form and then submit. This is what the first section of the waiver form looks like, where you would fill in all of the general information needed. In this next section, you will need to give information about who is donating, their contact information, what is being donated, and the value of the items totaled. Note, you will need to upload a letter from the vendor outlining the donation your organization will be receiving. The last page will allow you to review your submission and add any comments you may have or want to share. Once you submitted the form for approval, check back on Engage in 1 week to see if your waiver was approved or denied. If you do not hear back about the status of your waiver, contact your club advisor. Food policy, bake sale. Bake sale events are allowed in approved locations only. For example, the library or the first floor of University Crossing are approved locations. Bake sale can only include small snack items. No full meals can be provided. Food must be homemade and cannot be store-bought. You cannot buy cookies at the grocery store, but you can buy the ingredients to make the cookies. And food must be prepared, stored, and served in accordance with the food safety guidelines. Ingredient lists for each item must be displayed. Therefore, individuals with allergies will know which food items to avoid. Armor provides the food served in the dining hall on campus. Food policy, catering. If you want your event to be catered, the policy is Armark is the only vendor you can use to have catered food at your event. You must order food to be catered through your club advisor. Early communication with your club advisor is required. For catered food on Armwork's menu, communication is required at the latest 2 weeks before your event. For catered food off of Armwork's menu, communication is required at the latest 1 month before your event. These are the latest the catering request can be submitted, but it is recommended you begin discussing with your advisor as soon as possible. There needs to be enough time to negotiate pricing and create a menu for the event with Armwork. Food policy pizzas. Pizza can be ordered from a legal vendor if you are ordering less than 10 pizza boxes for your event. Legal vendors are Pizza Hut, Domino's, Angelina's, and any other restaurant. However, more than 10 pizza boxes needed for your event will require a catering request, which will result in pizza being provided through Armwork. USDA Food Safety Guidelines video. The video that will soon play was created by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which will explain the food safety guidelines that must be followed.
Just as wearing safety belts in the car protects you and your family, food safety precautions should be a regular part of daily life. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says dangerous bacteria can cause serious illness or death. But you can stay safe by checking your steps.
The simple steps for food safety are clean, separate, cook, and chill. Always start with clean. That means washing hands with soap and warm water and clean surfaces and utensils with hot soapy water throughout the cooking process to kill any bacteria.
The next step is separate. Like leaving dirty shoes by the door to prevent spreading germs, don't contaminate cooked foods with harmful bacteria.
Cross-contamination occurs when bacteria is spread between foods. Use separate cutting boards for preparing meat, poultry, and fresh vegetables so the juices from the raw meat don't touch the other foods. And use a clean plate to remove meat from your heat source.
The third step is to cook foods to a safe temperature. Carbon monoxide detectors alert us about dangerous gases inside our home. You can't rely on your senses of smell or sight to detect this hazard.
A food thermometer helps us make sure cooked food is free of dangerous bacteria that can't be smelled, seen, or tasted. Insert the thermometer in the thickest part of the food and remember 3 main temperatures. 145 degrees Fahrenheit for roasts and steaks with a 3-minute rest time. 160 degrees Fahrenheit for burgers and ground meats. And 165 degrees Fahrenheit for poultry.
Finally, keep foods properly chilled. Just as you set your home water heater to a safe temperature to avoid scalding, keep food at a safe temperature to prevent the growth of harmful bacteria.
Make sure your refrigerator is set at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below and your freezer at 0 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Store leftovers in shallow containers within 2 hours of serving or within 1 hour in hot weather, over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And always defrost foods in the refrigerator or microwave, never on the countertop.
Making clean, separate, cook, and chill a daily habit just makes sense. You can learn more about checking your food safety steps from Ask Karen in English and Spanish online or on your mobile phone, or by calling USDA's Meat and Poultry Hotline, 1-888-MP-HOTLINE. For the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I'm Pat O'Leary.
Food Safety Guidelines. The food safety guidelines were created by the USDA in order to prevent foodborne illnesses in regards to how food is being handled, cooked, and stored. In every step of food preparation, follow the 4 guidelines mentioned in the video to keep food safe. To recap what was in the video: clean. Wash your hands and surfaces often. Separate. Do not cross-contaminate, separate used items. Cook. Cook to proper temperatures, checking with a food thermometer. Chill. Refrigerate promptly. For more information on the food safety guidelines, check out the USDA's website. Do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts to have a successful event and to follow food policy. Do talk to your club advisor about the food he wants served at your event. Do not serve food that was not approved by your advisor. Do make homemade food for potlucks and bake sales. Do not buy pre-made food to distribute. Do take donations from restaurants and licensed vendors. Do not purchase food from the vendors. Do not use unlicensed vendors for potlucks and donations. Do catering with our mark. Do not cater with other vendors. Do catering requests for 10+ pizzas with our mark. Do not purchase pizza if 10+ pizzas is needed, even if it is from a legal vendor. Closing remarks. For questions and information regarding these food policies for your event, please contact your club advisor or email multicultural_affairs@uml.edu or visit our office. The Office of Multicultural Affairs is located at University Crossing on the 3rd floor, Suite 366. Thank you for viewing this presentation.